Hey guys, biracial Tiffany here. I got another interview, so here it is. Hope you like it. Okay guys, so this is Kate, and she was kind enough to grant me this interview.
Yes. Why, thank you.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you. So we are going to talk about how you grew up. Kate's biracial. Big surprise. So, and you're from Michigan too.
I am from Michigan originally, yes. Yes.
Very cool.
I am biracial, however, I am adopted. So I come from birth parents, white mother, black father, parents, both white. So I have an older brother and older sister who are white, and my younger brother is also adopted.
Oh.
It's a very interesting time growing up. Lots of looks when we were younger.
How much older are your
We are all
brothers?
kind of in a row. My youngest brother just turned 31, I'm 32, my sister's 34, and my oldest brother's 36.
Wow.
We'll be 36, so
I'm
we're
32.
all kind of... okay. Yes, good age. So we're all kind of boom, boom, boom right in a row. So
okay, so what... why did your parents decide to adopt when they had to?
You know what, I've actually really never asked them that question. It was just something that they did. My mom's sister and her husband also adopted two biracial kids, and they had two biological.
Mm-hmm. And are their biological kids older and then they adopted, or is it the other way around?
Biological, adopted, biological, adopted. Yeah.
You have some cool people.
Yeah.
Okay, so who adopted first? Your mom's sister?
I think we did, actually. Well, you know what? Actually, because my cousin is a year older than me, so maybe they got him first, and then I came right after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was it intentional biracial adopt? Like, is there a biracial organization?
I think they've adopted me through an organization called Bethany Christian Services. We were in New Jersey, and it was in 1976 when the whole issue of transracial adoption was coming to a head, and they were deciding if it was a good idea, if it's not a good idea. So there were all these articles written on, you know, should a white family raise a non-white child, you know, vice versa.
Even if the child's white as well as black?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
You know, it's one of those things where they're like, well, they wouldn't look at me like, oh, she's half white, so you can have her, that
right.
kind of thing. But I don't think it was ever a thought crossed their mind that we just want to, you know, just like a baby.
So they asked for a baby, and a biracial baby came up first.
I think they may have actually asked for a black baby or a biracial baby. And I was my father's 30th birthday present, so that's not even a lie. So.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah. So,
yeah. And now do you feel like you guys have a special relationship because of that?
I do. I really, really do. And it's been interesting.
And so what do you remember sort of a time where you were like, hey, wait a minute, I look a little different than the rest of these people.
Me, when did you realize you were adopted? And I just kind of look at them like, have you seen my parents? I never really felt any difference until maybe I was a little bit older, and we actually, another interesting part of my life story, we moved overseas for 4 years to West Africa, which, going from like all whiteness to lots of black and African, it was one of those things because they just could not get it. Like, those are your parents, but that's you. What?
And your brother, your younger brother, was with you.
We were all there.
You were all together. Okay.
And there was the word biracial was not a word. We were shiny.
Yeah.
My brother and I were shiny.
To the Africans?
To the Africans, we were shiny. But no one really asked, you know, why.
How old were you when you lived there?
I was 8 to 12.
This is so fascinating.
Got kind of a strange life. So it's been a ride.
So did your parents have some sort of like, okay, Kate, now we need to explain to you that everyone's going to think that you're black, and so...
We've never had that conversation. They've just let me be. You know, if I had questions, if I ever had questions, they didn't have, I never felt like I was never part of the family because my skin was a little darker. I never felt different.
But in terms of like how other people were going to think of you, did anyone, you know, prepare you to plant that idea in your head that you were different?
Not really, because from the way I've always been pretty self-assured and whatnot, is if someone thinks I'm good, so what?
That's awesome.
You know, and it's
totally
just,
the opposite.
Which a lot of people really, really have a struggle with that, and legitimately so, because they've been made to feel that they're different.
That's wonderful. So, are there any, just like right off the top of your head, differences between Africans and African Americans?
Yes. Africans are not American. Everyone's like, oh, African American. It's like, no. They don't see a black American as family. Like a lot of black people, like, oh, I'm going to the motherland. It's like, no.
They don't.
You don't speak their language. They see you as 100% American. That's it. That is it. And it's funny to talk to people who are like, oh, I'm going to the motherland. I'm going to do this, that. I'm like, you have fun with that because you're in for a big surprise.
And do they like to make this known? Like, are they aware? I feel so silly being like they, like there's some foreign being and they're people, but
in a way, it kind of is a little.
Do they know that how much Americans are like think of that as the motherland? Is that kind of like a joke to them in any way?
I don't know if it's ever been brought up.
Okay.
Where I was a country that was Liberia, so it was set up by the United States and all of that. So they had a very high regard for Americans, white, black, purple, you name it. I'm not sure about how other countries think about it. I didn't really see too many black Americans there. They could be different now. But for black people who want to go to Africa to find their roots and all of that, you might have a tough time.
It's a big place. It's not a country.
It's a huge place, and people, very friendly people, but they might not quite get the whole, we're bonded because, my ancestors are from here, and they're just like, okay.
Whatever that means.
Welcome to my country. It's not. That's how I felt. Like I was definitely American. As opposed to...
What was your school like? Mostly...
My school was funny. It was this little missionary school type place. And it was mostly white, but it was set on this compound. So there were lots of, Africans around. A lot of my classmates were white, but had lived in Africa their whole lives. A lot of them had not been to the States or had gone once or twice. So... It was crazy.
Wow.
Good crazy. So a lot of
was it
times.
A shock coming back after 4 years?
We would come back every summer.
Oh, okay.
But it was a little bit of an adjustment, like school-wise. Like I went back to the school I'd gone to before, so I knew people and they knew we were coming back. It was still a little bit different. It's a different way of life. It was, different expectations. So, and we're still young enough to not make the transition like you're going right into high school. Like my brother went right into high school.
That would be hard.
So that must have been.
Especially because not many kids get to have that kind of experience. So I'm not saying you're better than everybody else, but like your horizons have been broadened so much more that would be hard to sort of look at things in such a small box.
And to this day, it's still kind of tough, which is why I'm glad I live in New York, because a lot of people here like to travel, have traveled, whereas in other places that I've lived, not so much. And they look at you like you have 25 heads. Because, oh, I'm going to go to Hong Kong, or I'm going to go here. Why? Why would you do that?